If I traded it all, if I
Welcome
gave
back.
it
My next guest, David Fischer, has been on my show now a couple of years. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital, has his own radio shows all over the place. Television, I think, too, national. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself real quickly and what we're going to talk about today.
Well, I've been on the radio, as you say, quite a bit. Actually, I started radio way back in 1993, a long time ago, but I didn't do much in my earlier career. It's mostly blossomed here in the last 3 years. Currently, I'm on about 800 networks. I'm actually talking with another radio talk show host that has about 100 stations that he wants me to have me on his program. But right now, 800 stations, about 3 million people listen to me. Since I was on your program just last week, I was on national television out of New York, and around 21 million viewers tuned into what I had to say. Some of the things that we're talking about today, and in New York network there with a guy named Kevin McCullough, which is a Fox News contributor. We had a great time.
You know what? When I have you on my show, and I've had you for a long time, when you start talking, I just kind of intently listen because you're all about educating the public. I mean,
Absolutely.
What you do, you specialize obviously in the gold market, gold and silver, but you're not a financial advisor. We know that.
Correct.
And but you help people with doing something called taking possession of their money and having their gold. If you're going to buy gold, buy it through him and have it where you can take possession of it and hold on to it in your own hands and have it personally.
Absolutely. You know, most people that buy gold or are thinking about buying gold always ask the question, well, do I get to take and hold it in my hands? The answer is yes. Even if you have a retirement, like a 401k or an IRA, and you want to roll that over, transfer that into precious metals under a qualified plan, you still can take physical possession of that metal without a tax liability. And there's a way of doing that, a legal pathway. I even wrote a white paper on it, and a lawyer here in Arizona puts the documents together. On a side note, his legal fees are much more competitive. I worked with him. I've done thousands of these. Worked with him for 6 years now. But his legal fees is $385. If you're out of state, most of my clients are on a national level. If you're in state of Arizona, it's $350. And my competitors are somewhere between $995 to almost $2,000. So it's very cost effective. You know, and the beauty of that, it's very simplistic. You don't have to set up and get EIN numbers and all these things that most other companies say you need to, because it's called a pass-through LLC. If they call my company, our representatives can explain it really in detail because of a lack of time on the radio today.
Now, they do free consultations, and that's what they're all about, is they're waiting for you to talk to them, and so that they can, just to no obligation, free consultation, where they can help you get the information on this and make your own decisions of what you want to do. He does help people nationally, but of course, and come on, Arizona people, really, I think everybody should be doing this. I don't care what's going on in the market. If I'm buying gold, I'd want to have my possession of it, no matter what.
You said the key word. Everybody should do this. I don't know if you know who this is. We've talked about him before, but he's the guy who wears, Jim Rogers is his name. He wears the funny bow ties, the colorful ones. I've talked to him about him on your program. 4.5 months ago, he said, we're going to face the worst catastrophic event coming up, and it'll happen in the next 1 to 2 years. And he's a billionaire. I mean, he doesn't need to get people to invest in his products, or he doesn't need any sort of money anymore the rest of his life. He's doing it strictly, and he's made most of his money in the stock market, so he loves stocks. He is a strong believer in gold. He was on Fox News today. I was finishing up our newsletter that's going to come out here just in a couple of days, called Which Came First, the Chicken or the Egg, and they call my company, they didn't get that free newsletter. But anyways, just finishing up the very end of this, and ironically, here he comes on Varney and Company, Fox News, Jim Rogers, and Varney, Stuart Varney was interviewing and saying, it's good to have you. You said before, recently, why do you think, Jim, that the market is going to go down a whole bunch? Why are you saying that? I mean, you're not the only one saying that, but why are you saying that? And he says, well, it's very clear. In 2008, and this will help everybody understand what I talk about. In 2008, we had a crisis because of debt. It's called mortgage-backed securities, and it's called collateralized debt. They did derivative trading, which is leveraged money. It's all debt. When debt is not a good four-letter word, it's a bad four-letter word, especially when it's used improperly. So what happened is it brought down the financial system. And Jim Rogers said, that's nothing. The debt levels in 2008 are absolutely nothing. They're minuscule compared to where we currently are. And so that's the problem. Our debt is the killer to the financial future because we haven't got that thing under control. It's controlling us. And so Jim said, quote, now is the time everybody should own gold. You know, he doesn't own a gold company. He's not trying to get people to buy gold because he's going to make money. So there's no self-interest. He's just saying we will. It's not a matter of if we will have a downturn that's huge. And he said it's going to be the biggest in his lifetime. He's 74 years old. That tells you how much bigger it will be than 2008.
But now we also want to remind people, too, that you're not suggesting that they put all of their money in gold. No way.
Absolutely not.
No.
And I've never said that. But being proper, never should you have 100% of your money in stocks either.
It's called diversification.
Exactly. And so if people followed my model that I've laid out for years, and I've spoken about it now over a decade, and 15, 17 years ago I created this plan, put a portion in cash, put a portion in stock, put a portion in real estate, and put a portion in gold. You would have been very fine, and the downturn in the market wouldn't have affected you near as much as it affected most people. People that were leveraged to the nth degree in real estate lost homes upon homes upon homes. Yet if you would have had just a portion of your money there and a portion of your money in cash to make those payments when people couldn't, and had some gold to fall back on, gold went up 72% in 2009 while stocks faltered still, and real estate didn't recover and still is not recovered. So gold plays a vital asset when we move forward into uncertain times, and clearly we are doing that.
Now, he has this white paper that he's written on this. Also, all of the information about having being able to take possession of this gold in your hands. They're waiting for you. Call them at their office. What they want is just to have a consultation. It is no obligation. They're all about just education, and the phone number to call them is 602-287-9200. The website is landmarkgold.com. Okay, let's go back over here to tell them what's going on. So we talked about the Federal Reserve and how they're raising the ceiling and all of that.
Well, the government raised the debt ceiling.
Whoever it was. Whoever did it.
The government here in early September 9th, raised the debt ceiling. Otherwise, we would have had a shutdown of the government and a default on September 29th. So they made it
possible to go into more debt.
Yes, well, they did, correct. We surpassed the $20 trillion national debt mark because of that. You know, think about this. We go back to year 2000. The debt was $5.4 trillion. Did you ever think we'd be, 15 years out, 17 years out, we'd surpass $20 trillion? Nobody would have ever thought that. Nobody would have ever thought that gold would have outperformed stocks 4-1. Gold has gone up 423%, while stocks has gone up 103%. Dow index is what I'm referring to.
And usually it's opposite than that.
Well, usually gold is first of all, gold is like a light switch. A lot of people don't understand what causes gold to move and what doesn't. Gold is like a light switch. It's either on or off. There's really no in between. Gold light switch has been off for 3.5 years. And when people were telling people gold's going to go up, I was saying, no, I think it's actually going to come down. I was telling people that, and people in the gold industry, my competitors, didn't like what I was saying, but I'd rather tell the truth and have credibility. They say something causing wishful thinking, say it's always going to go up. Gold doesn't always go up, but there's things that cause gold to go up, and the light switch went on in 2000 because our country started going into debt. The GDP, the percentages of money coming into our country started rising. So after the break, we're going to talk about the debt to GDP, because that that is a very key indicator for gold going up.
The number to call them, it's 602-287-9200. It's a free consultation, landmarkgold.com.
If I traded it all.
Welcome back. We're talking with David Fischer. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital. We are talking not about putting all of your money into gold. Diversification is what this is all about. He is an expert. You've been doing this for how many years?
25 years last August.
25 years last August, and he helps people nationally. And you know, I'm sorry, I got to do this.
No, go ahead.
Because I can't stand it. I mean, you know, so many people that you work with is and it seems like this all a lot with not only your business, but almost everyone that I hear, that nationally they'll do more business than here in Arizona. What the heck is wrong with us?
I don't know, maybe it's a prophet's not welcome in his own town. I don't know.
To me,
the
I
scriptural
find
reference.
that funny, and I think the people here, and I say when I listen to you, and I don't know about anybody else out there that's listening, is why wouldn't anyone just do this just because I would want to be safe and have some of my money in safe? It sounds safe to me.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is that, Carol, when you're on the national radio, there's something about, oh, that guy's on national radio, and you hear we're local radio, so it's not the same type of wow effect, I guess. I don't know. I'm the same
You
person
are on
I am.
national radio.
Yeah, when I'm on national radio, I speak the same way when I'm on local radio.
Right.
And it doesn't matter to me if I'm national, local, or on television. I love educating people. And when we went to the break, we were talking about the key thing between the debt and the GDP. GDP stands for gross domestic product. In other words, the money that is coming into our country to keep our debt under control. It's like income to a household. So when you go over 100%, you spend more than when you take in. That's not a good financial recipe. That's a bad deal. It will turn bad. And our country 2 years ago went past 100%. It's not the first time we've been past 100%. The time before, which is only one time in history, which was in the 40s. And what got us out of that debt structure, unfortunately, was World War II. So it created a massive job growth. It created massive building infrastructure in our country, a purpose, a reason to build. You know, I hate to say all these things, you know, guns, tanks, all military. A lot of money changed hand because of that, and that stimulated the economy. Now, I don't want war. I know you don't want war, but we're headed towards war, unfortunately. We have to be honest about this. And more than likely, we're going to be in a war this year, I think, with North Korea. I don't know if they're doing this purposefully because it's something that will be really good for the economy, just like the Gulf War was really good for the economy. I don't want to minimize the soldiers that gave their lives, and that is, you know, dear to all of our hearts. That's why who we are and why we celebrate America in the flag. And, you know, with all that's going on, I don't want to turn this into a political thing, but America has a problem. We have an addiction to debt, and we can't manage that. Evidence why we went over 100% here 3 years ago. The solution is to create more debt to get out of debt, and that doesn't work. It's proven it doesn't work. So maybe they're going to have to either inflate our way out. Maybe that's why the Federal Reserve announced interest rate hikes now. We're going to have 3 next year, 1 still this year in December, which means higher interest rate will move us into inflation, and they're going to unwind, sell their balance sheet. In other words, sell the dollar, sell the treasuries, which is the number one. They're the number one buyer. So if somebody has to support the dollar, the Fed has been doing that. Not central banks, not the rest of the world. The Fed has moved into the number one slot of supporting the dollar in the last 8 years. Now they're going to start to sell it. So we have a predicament coming up, higher interest rates, and when the Fed has done this, they've done this 6 times before in history, 5 out of the 6 has led into a recession. So moving forward, we are either going to move into a recession, and maybe a large one like Jim Rogers and Ray Diallo, 17 billionaires this year have already said that's where we're going. Big money is saying we're going into a recession sometime next year and possibly 2019 maybe. Or we're going to move into inflation. I don't think we're going to kick the can down the road this time because the numbers are saying the world is backing away. It's so important right now to have gold in your portfolio because if we move into recession, stocks will be bad, real estate will be bad, and that's been pro-gold, typically. If we move into an inflation time, it is the best environment for gold. And if we move into this seizure assets environment that has happened recently in 9 countries called the bail-in, and I have a white paper on that, if you don't own gold, you're going to be like a cooked goose. I'd rather be the goose with the golden egg than be a cooked goose. This is why it's so important to own gold, to be diversified, to hedge yourself. And ironically, gold is slightly outperforming stocks this year.
Well, we have talked about this before. You do all the work for everybody.
Everything, turnkey.
You know
education,
what?
Everything.
All about it. And all of that you talk about, too, is all substantiated in your work that you put out.
They can Google it. They'll Google it and they'll be shocked.
Right.
Mainstream media, even some government websites has all this on.
So all of this is there. Though he is offering for everyone, he wants you to just call his office. They have people there standing by that will talk to you. It's a free, no obligation consultation that you're going to learn a little bit more about what he's talking about. The white paper, also to take your possession and have not only to put your money into gold, but also be able to have possession of it. And I think that's huge. And very costly. Now, very cost effective. I should say it correctly. Sorry. So and he works nationally. Also here, it's like $350 here or 300. How much is it here to do?
$385 for the legal cost to set up the transition to set up an LLC if you're out of state, or $350 within Arizona.
So he's been doing this for 25 years. He's been talking about this. He does. He's an expert at it, and he's not a financial advisor. We want people to understand that. You're not. But this is something that he is passionate about. I mean, you breathe this. You really do.
The last 18 years, I'll say, I've probably been asked at least 100 times if I'm a financial planner. And I said, no, I don't have the letters behind my name. But that's how I talk with people. I help them plan their future financially. Stocks is not the only answer, and neither is gold the only answer, but a portion to those areas is critical, especially now.
Now, the phone number to call them is area code 602-287-9200. The website is landmarkgold.com. Call, find out about this information. You can also get his the newsletter that's coming out, too, which came first, the chicken or the egg? That's coming out soon. He's writing that now. But get this information, and it's just going to give you... we say that information gives you power. In this way, I think it's just more so than just power, okay? It's more knowing that I can have peace of mind when things can crash.
When people hold gold in their hands the first time, they call up our company, we send them out a packet, they get educated, they have questions, we answer the questions, we develop a strategy called the financial blueprint. You wouldn't dare build your house without a blueprint, neither should you invest without a plan, Carol. And so we create this plan for them. It's tailor-made for them based upon who they are. And it's about a 15, 20-minute conversation. They're going to know the 3 distinct markets, what they do, what they don't do. And for all the listeners out there, if you've bought metals and you've never heard of the 3 columns, then that means that you tell yourself you've never been properly educated. You might not be in the right kind of gold or silver for the purposes of why you're buying. Call my company and learn about the 3 columns. If you have metal and you already bought and you're in a depository in a retirement, I can help you hold that money in your hands without a tax liability. So that, I'd rather hold the metal in my hands than in Delaware depository in Wilmington, Delaware, or in Branson, Utah. It's the same mechanism. In fact, it's going to be cheaper because you're not paying a depository fee
to hold it,
to store it. Yeah, exactly. So we help a lot of people. I've done lots of that. We've helped people reposition themselves in different markets if they're in the incorrect one. And what we do is a financial plan that we look at their portfolio based upon what their concerns are. And we say, okay, you should keep these metals, keep these, but this little area over here, it doesn't matches up with your strategy. We can help change that out if you'd like. So it's a tailor-made individual product looked at to make sure that they're hitting their goal.
Call their company. They're waiting for you. 602-287-9200. 9200. It's landmarkgold.com. What should we talk about before you go?
I You know, there's a lot of people who have looked at gold and they go, you know what? I wonder if gold's going to go up. I was looking at it way back when it was $800, when it was $600, and they went to their broker, their financial planner, and they got the advice. I hear this all the time. They got their advice, should I buy gold? And 99.99% the financial planner or stockbroker says, no, you don't need to get gold. We can help you hedge against inflation. We can help you do all of that. And what happened? 2008. People are waking up. They're saying in their spirit, something's still wrong. We didn't really fix this thing in 2008. We just put a Band-Aid on it. If your gut is telling you the same thing, don't ignore it this time, because this is going to be bigger than 2008. Get some metal in your hands. We can help you get educated and do that for you.
It's called Diversification. The number to call is 602-287-9200. It's landmarkgold.com.